Hi class, welcome to week 7 of summer term. Um, this week I will say is lighter because it is anticipating the heavier workload that comes with week 8, the final week of the term. So just know that the amount of time that things will take this week might be lighter, and then next week you'll have more assignments that will take a bit more time. So you can maybe look ahead and tackle some of those assignments this week. So specifically, this week you are, instead of doing a peer review, you're doing a self-review of your paper 3. And so that is due on Thursday, in fact. And so after you complete that self-review, I would highly recommend that you start implementing the advice that you give yourself and complete those revisions. And I will be getting my feedback back to you as well shortly. And then you can use that advice to revise your paper and get that ready in advance, because that will be due next week, amongst other things. So having that done, or having a lot of your revisions completed, will really help you manage the workload next week. Okay, so this week you have some readings from the textbook on writing clear and logical sentences. You have a reading on using pronouns, and you're going to listen to a podcast on navigating the intersection of faith and writing. So you're going to listen to one writer discuss his Christian philosophy of writing, and that podcast is going to be useful for your discussion post and for your final paper as well, because you are supposed to be articulating your philosophy of writing as a Christian. So in your discussion post, the initial post is due Saturday, and the 2 response posts are due next Tuesday. You're going to be responding to Goines' philosophy of writing as a Christian. So giving your thoughts on his philosophy, how what points you agree on, where you disagree, how you might elaborate upon his comments, and whether you have any positive or negative reactions to his viewpoint of faith and writing. And again, just trying to compare and contrast it with your own. Put your ideas in conversation with his, and then you can start to see maybe how you could bring his ideas into your final paper, since you do have the requirement of 3 sources. So that's the initial post is due Saturday. And then for your response posts, again, these posts are supposed to be more than just, I like this, great work, thanks for sharing. You're supposed to be helping your peers develop their ideas. You'll really want to hone your ability to give constructive feedback. Remember, this is supposed to be like asynchronous class discussion, and the same thing will go for Comp 2. So really work on dialoguing with your peers, acting like you're in conversation with them, building on their ideas, questioning their ideas, helping them refocus their ideas if they're a little bit off topic or maybe need some additional points for consideration. So use your responses this week, again, minimum of 150 words, as an opportunity to really help your peers expand or refine their ideas depending on what they need. And then you have a week 7 reading quiz on the learning resources, and that's not due until Tuesday. Okay, so that's it for this week. Very light week. You'll want to take a look at the final exam study guide. That's will come next week, and that final exam will not be multiple choice, purely multiple choice like all of the reading quizzes have been, so it won't be auto-graded. It's short answer and fill in the blank predominantly. So you will want to study for that, even though it is open book and open notes. Obviously it would be helpful to review the resources on writing that you've used in the course thus far, and to help prepare you for that final exam. Okay, so this week, work on reviewing your paper 3, work on revising your paper 3, especially considering how you might incorporate Goines' perspective into your paper. And do remember that, your papers are supposed to be formatted according to the style guide that you're using in your discipline, whether that's APA or Chicago, or if I've approved an alternate formatting guide. At this point in the semester, if you're not formatting your paper accordingly, and more importantly, if you're not giving me in-text citations or bibliographic citations and a reference list at the end, I'm going to start reporting plagiarism, because it's really important for you to cite your sources. If you're not citing your sources, it's coming off, even if you use quotation marks, like those ideas are your own, or you're not finding it important enough to give credit where credit is due and mentioning the source. And that affects your credibility as a writer, and you can think about the importance of credibility, especially for communicating as a Christian, right? It's extremely important that we are accountable writers, that we value credibility, we value giving proper credit to those whose ideas we're incorporating. So at this point, make sure you're citing your sources. Make sure you're using a formatting guideline. Put some time and effort into this final paper. It's not only important to your grade, but it's important to your development as a writer and your growth as a student at SEU. So I look forward to finalizing my feedback on your paper 3s and continuing to read your work in this course. And don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions.